Guys, welcome back to Impractically Practical. We're here with one of our special guests today, Nelson Cantu, broker and owner of Team Nelson Cantu and Associates. What's up, man?
What's good?
Is that all you've accomplished so far?
That's it. That's it, bro. Yeah.
My biggest goal for today is to bring out the inner Arvin in Nelson. We're gonna.
It's in there.
We're gonna bring out the ghetto. How's it going, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Good, bro. Are you excited for the new year?
I'm excited, bro. Yeah, a lot of changes, but with changes come challenges. So
Of course.
I'm ready. I fully embrace it, and I'm ready to grow.
Growth without resistance, there is no growth, right? So
that's it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, we'll dive deep into all the changes that have been happening, and we'll go as far as you would like to. But before anything, just kind of a little backstory. So you did start. We are all little Arvin boys, right?
That's it.
Kind of grew out of it.
Small town boys.
Small town boys, and you used to work. You've been on here 3 times, and for those of people, well, this is your third
time. Yeah.
For the people that haven't seen those other episodes, this is we finally got our legit setup and stuff like that, so it's a little different now.
Yeah.
But just to sum it up, if you want to give a quick recap, or you want me to do it on kind of where you started, just
Dude,
really fast.
let me just say that I think a lot of people don't realize what kind of advantage we have over most people coming from a small town like Arvin. Just because it's not like we were in a sense like advantaged over anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of things, a lot of adversity. We had to go through a lot of things to be able to get to where we're at, right? Kind of like, you typically hear about like the immigrants story, right? And how they come to this country extremely hungry. And although I didn't come from another country, but coming from a small town like that really really puts a lot of things into perspective, right? And it kind of gives you, or over the years, it gives you so many realizations of all the advantages that you have over people that grew up with basically everything right in front of them or everything given to them. That's why, like, even sometimes, like, I think about with my kids, right? Like, we want to give them the best life possible, but it's like, where's the fine line?
Where's that fine line?
It's tough, bro. It's tough because it's like, man, I wouldn't trade where I came from and what I've like kind of gone through.
Yeah.
For anything really. And
kind of goes back to when we had Sterling Hills on here, and I asked him, like, when he did his LDS mission, did you at the time think like that was gonna in any way play a humongous role in what you were gonna do for the rest of your life? And he was like, no, at the time, no. Same thing growing up in Arvin, right? Yeah. Like, we never thought, like, man, coming from a small, low income city is gonna play a huge role. I think most people, and it's also perspective, right? I have this discussion a lot, especially with Adrian, about perspective and stuff like that, where is the glass half full or half empty, right? And so many people, even our age, younger, older, from the small cities that we're from, will take it as a disadvantage. Like, I was born with nothing. My parents were low income. They weren't able to get us anything. But I mean, then again, so were we, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, bro. It's like I'm telling you, we have such a huge advantage. But again, life is all about perspective, right? I truly believe that you can do anything that you want as long as you change your perspective. Of course, other things come along with that, right? Like skill sets and things of that nature. But perspective, dude, that's like the number one thing, at least in life for me, that has helped me, accomplish whatever it is that I've accomplished, is perspective. Because in my younger years, I always thought of, coming from a small city, not having the resources, not knowing, people at a top scale or high level of success. I always thought that was like a disadvantage for me, right? Because I was like, shit, well, I don't know anybody that's necessarily wealthy or that, they're extremely successful at what they do. So I was like, man, I wish I would have been raised or born into an environment where all of this was kind of already set in place for me. But a lot of people don't understand, the skills, the adversity that you have to go through, and the character building that comes with kind of building your own inner circle of people that are successful, creating your own relationships, nurturing them, going through all the adversity that ultimately leads you to who you are today.
Yeah, and so adversity and all of that stuff, it comes from change, right? Like, every time that you encounter a certain change or a certain obstacle, you kind of have to figure out a way to punch it in the face and keep going, instead of what many people do is either give up or try to go around it. But going around something doesn't really demolish it, right? Do you guys get kind of where I'm going with this?
So for me, when I've been put in uncomfortable situations like that,
do me a favor. Grab it and put it closer.
Oh, shit.
No, right in front of you.
Like that?
Yeah, there we go.
Shit, dude, you just distracted me. I don't even know what the hell I was gonna say.
It's because it was, you were.
Yeah, you were a little low.
Okay.
I
I was gonna say, like with change, right? Like with change, a lot of people will just kind of crawl up into a little ball and kind of hide from it. That's where the stress levels kind of go up, the anxiety, the not being able to go to sleep at night. So for me, when I really started facing some of those like real challenges, I was like, shit, man, like, my stress levels, like, it sucks, right? But as time goes on, perspective, you start to realize how much this adversity, it's kind of teaching you something new. So now it's like, dude, I fully embrace it.
It kind of even plays in your favor, right?
I fully embrace it. Yeah, it plays in your favor. I fully embrace it. And I just move forward from it. I take whatever I could have learned from it and I move forward and I let those lessons help me with the next venture or however it is that we're going to pivot and move forward, right?
I like the analogy that Alex used was like slaying dragons, and every time the dragon gets bigger, right? So every time you slay a dragon or whatever way you want to say a problem, you tackle a problem
Absolutely.
down, it gets bigger and bigger.
You want bigger problems.
But then again, what comes with bigger problems? More profit, right? More money.
Of course,
more more opportunity to make more money. So
didn't somebody say more money, more problems or something like that?
I think somebody did say, but they said They said more money.
More money, more problems.
More money.
Yeah. So that's the thing, man. Like when you're going through, as a business owner or salesperson, entrepreneur, when you're facing a ton of these problems, like it's like, dude, like this is exactly what you want. Exactly what you want, because moving forward, and not only because of it brings you a certain level of stress, right? But stress or stress tolerance is like a muscle, right? If you don't work that out, it's never gonna grow. So, like the problems that I have now, or the challenge that I have now, 2 years ago would have probably made me fold. You see what I'm saying? But now it's like, okay, it's here. How can we solve it? Like, what's the solution to this problem? Let's move forward. And I'm looking forward to the next one, right? As they say, right, the people that can solve the biggest problems are typically the people that earn the highest amounts.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, correct.
Do you feel like you failed in your path so far?
100%. Yeah, shit, dude, I fail every day, man. Yeah. That's the beauty of it.
No, but I mean like a huge failure that you're just kind of like. I'm not saying that you feel like a failure. I'm saying, did you have one thing that happened to you where it's like, damn, this is one of my biggest failures so far. And you obviously move forward from it. But do you feel like you've had a big failure in your path so far? I'll go to where I'm going with this question right now.
Yeah, that's a great question, but I don't know that there's anything right off the top of my head. Again, I think it just goes back to perspective, because I don't know that I've ever had anything where I'm like, shit, like, fuck, dude, I completely failed at that. Yeah. For me, it's like, okay, it didn't work. I just figured out another way that it didn't work, right?
Yeah,
so what can I do next?
Yeah, I think the way you're phrasing the question is kind of,
well,
like I said, if it's perspective, maybe more like of a lesson. What's like the greatest lesson that made you fall on your ass that now made you the person who you are, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
But
well, here's where I was going with this question was, you talk to all these successful people, right? You hear all these successful stories, and I'm talking, big. Either you can go from a bracket of a person that makes $500,000 a year to a person that's a millionaire to a person that's a billionaire. You hear their stories, and what do they all say? I think like every single one of them says, I failed 10 times before I became successful. Mm-hmm. I failed 30 times before I became successful. I failed whatever amount of times, right? But I started to look back, and I'm talking on a personal level. I started to look back, and I'm like, well, have I even had a failure yet? Like, have I failed? And that scares me, because shit, I haven't failed, then it's fucking coming. Like, I'm not gonna avoid it. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Do you feel like you've already had that like, you know what, I failed 6, 7, 8 times, or
for sure, bro. I see what you're saying, and actually, this is one of the things that comes to my mind right now as you're talking about that. So I believe that everything happens for a reason, right? So any failures that you encounter, at least from my perspective, because I'm a very optimistic person, for me, it's a lot of the things that we fail at, it's because it's leading us towards something better. Exactly. So I don't know if we talked about it the last time that I came on here, but I talked to you about how one of the things that at the time I thought was my biggest failure actually led me to be where I am today. So for the people that don't know, prior to real estate, I was in the electrical industry, right? So for me, prior to getting into real estate, the reason why I even got into real estate, or what really forced me into it, because the curiosity was already there, but what really forced me into it was that I had failed at basically this type of like exam, pretty much, right? This type of exam that I had to pass to be able to continue on the path that I was on. So when I failed that, I was like, damn, like I almost couldn't believe it, because it was essentially, if I failed that, it was almost like going back to square one. Like the last 5 years of my experience in that industry were pretty much wiped out, and I kind of had to start over. So at first I saw that as like a failure. I was like, why would that happen to me? I've never really experienced like a huge kind of failure in my life, at least as an adult. And so when that happened, I really didn't understand why it happened, but I think, God has a way of kind of steering us in the right direction or to whatever his plans are. So for me, when I failed at that test, it really just pushed me into what it is that I do today. So if I would have never failed at that, I wouldn't be doing what it is I'm passionate about today.
Yeah, of course.
Does that make sense?
And see that's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I think if we all kind of look far back enough or even look deep enough, not just so far back, we all can picture times like that, right? Where this happened and technically, yeah, that was one of my failures. But I bring this up because literally, like, you think, well, when people talk about fail, they say like, I lost my houses, I lost this, and I still got on my feet and I started going, now I'm a millionaire. So I'm thinking like, shit, I haven't lost the house yet. I haven't got my cards repoed yet. Like, have I not failed, or is it coming? And when it comes, is it going to be bigger because it's going to be, So that's why I was asking, because it is a little nerve wracking, whenever you start to think like all of these successful people have the exact same story, right? In that sense, like fail, succeed.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where
that's a great point, because I think I read somewhere once that it said something along the lines of that the average millionaire has filed bankruptcy like 3 times or some shit like that, right? But I think we're in a day and age now where it's completely different. Like if you take somebody that's extremely, I mean, not even a millionaire, whatever you want to call it, somebody that's extremely successful and wealthy at what they do, 20 years ago compared to now, I don't think that in the modern day era, I don't think we got to go through all the shit that all those people went through anymore, because social media, YouTube, we have access to so many things and so many of other people's stories, and we can directly learn from somebody else's experience that we don't even know. So I don't know that we necessarily have to go through all those things, like, the average millionaire files bankruptcy 3 times in their life. I don't necessarily think that we have to go through that, because we've already learned through somebody else's experiences. And I think before, I mean, ego is always going to play a factor, right, into people's lives or who they are, just the type of person that they are. But you got to learn how to keep that ego in check. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have a mentor or some kind of coach that's guiding you on the path to where ultimately it is that you want to get to, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because having the right mentor and the right coach is invaluable, because they can directly tell you exactly what the next. It's almost like a owner's manual, right, to like life or business or whatever it is that you're being coached on. So I don't necessarily think that you have to go through those things anymore. Now, are you still going to fail at things? Absolutely, because something that worked for Adrian might not work for me, and vice versa. But I think that a lot of those big failures, right? I think they're avoidable. I think they're avoidable. And going back to, you've heard about people losing homes or filing for bankruptcy. I think that we have enough resources available to us so that we know exactly what we can do to kind of mitigate all these risks.
Well, yeah, and then on that same kind of line of topic, so I heard this in a different podcast where they say like, well, yeah, the person who invented the 24 hours a day was wrong, because now there's no more 24 hours, right? Like and I'm saying this in the sense of like back in the day when people were riding by horses and stuff like that, to get from point A to point B, it took them 3 to 4 days. Now it's taking us 3 hours. Mm-hmm. You get me?
Right.
So you can translate that into anything, right? Back then, to hear your story, I had to drive to you and have them schedule and sit down. And now podcasts are big now, books, live events, everything,
Yeah.
And so I get, it totally makes sense where there may be the problems and the obstacles and the failures aren't avoidable, but you can minimize them.
100%. 100%. And especially, again, I don't think, going back to the information that's readily available to us, I don't think that, I mean, has all this information that we know about today, has it always been available? 100%, bro. This shit that we're learning about in today's day and age has been around for fucking hundreds of years, right? But now it's available in the forms of books, podcasts, what else? Help me out here.
No,
whatever.
yeah.
Coaches, right? When I don't know that in the 50s or 60s there was a such thing as paying for a fucking coach.
Well, there might have been, but I don't know. Again, you have to schedule.
I'm from Marvin, bro. I don't know this shit.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. There might have been all that stuff available, but it wasn't as accessible and easy to get as now. Like now, you literally go online and you find a coach. You hire him, Zoom meetings, and it's done.
Yeah. Not only that, it's breaking through those mental barriers, because if somebody was to ask me like, dude, how much do you pay on a yearly basis for a coach, or how much have you invested over the course of the last 6 years? Some people would be like, dude, you're fucking crazy. Like you could have bought 3 brand new trucks with that, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's breaking through those mental barriers, getting out of your own damn way, to be able to allow somebody else to coach you on something. So that's why I'm telling you, man, ego is a huge thing, bro, especially in today's day and age. I think it's very easy to be able to read people and to be able to see through them and realize, hey, there's way too much ego here, and I don't necessarily want to associate myself with this person. So, and with the ego, with the whole ego thing, comes the inability to change, to pivot, to keep up with the times, right? Because as much as we wanna fully embrace our philosophies and our core principles, they still, I mean, the core principles are always going to be the foundational stuff, right? But you still got to change. You still got to evolve. If not, you're going to get left in the dust.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, how hard was it for you to, or is it still? Because I know it's still difficult. Coming from a city like us and having the friends that we have, not everybody's on the same path as us. Not everybody thinks like us. Like you said, you tell somebody how much you spend on coaching, they think you're crazy. If you tell somebody, I don't want to drink during the day or whatever because I have these things to do. Well, you don't have a schedule and stuff like that. Like we have friends like that still in our inner circle, right?
Yeah.
And so how hard is it for you to stay on your rails having those kind of people around, or even just changing yourself to becoming who you are now versus like thinking all this? Like I think my biggest thing here is hiring a coach, something like that. They're expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if somebody would have told you, how long you been in the business? 6 years?
Yeah.
Somebody would have told you 10 years ago, hey, hire a coach for $100,000 a year. What would you tell them?
That they were fucking nuts.
Nah, you're crazy. I barely make that, or I don't even make that.
Yeah.
You want me to hire a coach for that?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's the right time and place for all that stuff, but you obviously evolved. So how hard was it, and how hard is it now? How hard was it to evolve, and how hard is it now to stay on that rail?
Again, we go back to the whole mental thing and the mindset. So what most people don't realize with like having a coach or having a mentor is that with the right person, it's gonna be free, because they're gonna bring so many resources that weren't available to you before, or they're gonna help you develop a certain kind of skill set that's gonna make you 10 times the more money. And that's what people don't realize. They look at it as a liability or as an expense versus an investment, right? But for me, it's, because if you were to have talked to me 6 years ago, although I would like to say that I was on the right path, right? I'm a totally different person now, but it's because of, again, the mental toughness that I've been able to develop over the years. But okay, with that, it comes your daily habits. So with the daily habits, what a lot of people don't realize is that some people, like, I'll give you the easy example that I could think of. Waking up at 4:30 and being at the gym at 5. Some people are like, fuck, dude, like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, how is it so easy for you to get up at 4:30? It's like, dude, it's not. It's not. Like, the majority of the shit that I do on a daily basis, I don't want to do, but I still do it anyway. You see what I'm saying? So it's developing the mental toughness. Nice. I like that. It's developing the mental toughness to be able to tell yourself, dude, like, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do this open house. I don't want to go, door knock. I don't want to make that call. I don't want to send that email. But developing the mental toughness to force yourself into doing it. Because the reality is that, I always like to say that, nobody's coming to save you, brother. Like, you got to save yourself. So nobody's going to come, hey, Adrian, let's go, brother. Like, you got to go do this. You got to do this. I know it's tough for you today. The weather sucks, or I know, you just went through this, or you just went through that, or you're having issues at home. But if you're waiting for the perfect day, for the weather to be perfect, the reality is that you're never going to get some shit done. So you got to do these things. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, it's going back to forcing yourself into, hey, the things that I don't want to do the most are probably the things that I should be doing. So with that, okay, the changes that you're talking about, is it easy? It's not easy. Is it overnight? It's not. That's why, in the Atomic Habits book, it talks about making the small gradual changes that eventually over time compound and will ultimately lead you into a totally different life. Because it's like a challenge, right? That's why like these fitness challenges, I don't fucking like them, bro. It's retarded. Because what happens is that you go from a certain type of person or a certain type of lifestyle to something totally 180, right? 180 degrees, something that's not sustainable, right? Because you're used to eating like this or waking up at this time, and then all of a sudden you jump on this challenge and it completely flips the script on you that you can't wait to get back to the person that you used to be. That's why challenges don't work, right? That's why it's about the small daily changes, the gradual changes that'll ultimately lead, in a year, 5, 10 years, ultimately lead you to a completely different person, therefore a completely different life.
I'm going to send this to Andy Frisella.
Send it, dude. Yeah, that's one of my idols, by the way.
Now, I totally get your take on that. That's kind of why we created our own little thing. We were going to do 75 hard. And then
Same thing, bro. Yeah, 75 hard. It's not a challenge. It's about
that's what I was
becoming
gonna
a
say.
different person.
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. We're gonna do the 75 hard, but many people have the misconception that 75 hard is a fitness challenge.
It's not.
It's not a fitness challenge. It's a mental toughness. Not even a challenge, right? It's like if you do this for 75 days, you will become a new person, right? Like, and go ahead.
I was gonna say most people think that 75 hard is again a fitness challenge to where in 75 days, you're gonna drop 10% body fat, and you are probably more than that, or you're gonna drop X amount of weight. It's not about that. It's about developing the mental toughness to be able to do hard shit on a daily basis to the point where it becomes just normal for you, to where those things that you were doing before that were extremely hard, now it's like, what's hard about that? And then you kind of level up in a sense, right? Now it's like you look for the next thing that's extremely hard, and then you develop that into becoming your norm.
You know what I thought was funny? I heard this twice, right? But we have a person that we all know, and then actually we know both of these persons. But this person tells me, "Hey, well, I'm gonna do 75 soft," and I was like, "The fuck is that?" And they started explaining it to me, and it's like, "Well, I can cheat on this day, and I can do this, and I can, I don't have to work out twice, and I only have to work out once for 30 to 45
Jesus
minutes." And this person, I was like, I don't want to derail them or whatever, so I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, whatever." And we never went further into conversation. I don't even think they ended up doing it. But then on Monday, we went to a conference in LA. And on our way there, our friend says, "Hey, I'm actually going to do," I think he said 66 days. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
66 days of no drinking, pretty much 75 hard, but for 66 days. And I was like, okay, you have like something coming up on the 67th? Like, because that makes sense, right? And he's like, no, I heard from a person that says that 75 hard it doesn't work because 75 is too much and it overwhelms people. So that if you could do it for 66 days, you're good. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's fucking people just softening shit up.
I kind of thought like, wait, what? How does that have any logic behind it, right? And everybody
trying to make sense of it.
Everybody has their own take on it or whatever. But Andy Frisella says it straight up, like, dude, don't tweak this shit to make it easier. Then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like I think it's crazy. I mean, people can lie, right? People can lie, but I think he said that like 90% of people that do 75 hard never go back to their old lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Like they might come off of it for a few weeks, but then they move on to live hard. Yeah. Right. And they're like, no, like I did this for 75 days. And it's because it's hard shit, dude. Yeah. The exercise is the easiest part of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I get what you mean by the challenges being kind of, which again will kind of contradictory because this isn't a challenge, but
it's not. And that's the thing, bro. Like and that's what I'm talking about, man. It starts with you making a decision that you want to become a different person. Because if you love who you are and you love the habits that you're currently stuck in or that you've already adopted through the way that you were brought up or raised, if you love that shit, then why are you going to change it? It's not going to do anything for you because at the end of the day, you're going to go right back to where you started. And as a matter of fact, you're going to have a bad taste in your mouth because now you're like, yeah, I did 75 hard. That shit fucking sucked, dude. Like I had to work out twice a day. I had to eat all clean and shit when I like to eat my carne asada or whatever every single day. So, and that's great, but you got to make a decision that, well, first of all, you got to have the realization that what you've been doing up to this point hasn't been working or it hasn't helped you accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. So you have to make a decision that you want to change and that you want to live a different type of life. So that's the purpose of 75 hard. It's not, to get a ripped six pack. It's about developing the mental toughness.
Any drastic change, right? Like if you're trying to change, it's because you don't like who you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can't say, oh, I'm happy as hell with who I am. I don't need to change, but I want to change. Yeah. Well, what do you want to change for if you love who you are?
Yeah, there has to be a purpose behind anything, and like more than anything, I think it goes back to like really loving the process.
Welcome to the show, Adrian.
It's because you guys don't let me talk, bro. And kind of like that quote that goes around, right?
Welcome.
Like the man, the man who loves walking will walk farther than the person who loves a destination, right? So it's like really like embracing.
My guy has all the quotes.
Really,
fucking philosopher Adrian's doing
it. See what I mean? You guys don't let me talk, bro.
Hey, just say, hold on before you keep going. Say Gus's bar.
What's Gus's bar?
His quote, the one he made up when he was on the phone.
Oh, all right. Real backstory. Gus was on the phone with somebody, and he was like, "Yeah, man. Well, like it doesn't stop, till it stops." That was his quote.
It doesn't stop till it stops.
He was being motivational. So the guy's over here talking about how he's changing his life to a whole different path in entrepreneurship and this and that. And then, Gus is like, yeah, bro, no, I feel you, dog. I feel it, man. He's like, yeah, well, at the end of the day, it don't stop until it stops.
Fuck.
And
I'm inspired.
Me and Adrian were like,
There are some bars right there.
Yeah, mind blown.
hey,
Yeah, oh yeah.
like, damn, bar.
That's where I had a realization.
Holy shit.
All right, but going back, bro, to because like I actually really want to talk about that because I am starting to see how it's really impacting my life, and because I look at all these confident people, bro, and I used to think like, damn, like what do they got that I don't, right? And I think I got it from Ed Malay. He said it best. He said, the confident people are so confident because they always keep the promises that they make to themselves, right?
Yeah.
So for example, like I want to say you're a great example of that, right? If you tell yourself, this is your schedule, you're going to the gym at 5:30, you're gonna do this at this day. You keep the promises you make to yourself. So, obviously that makes you extremely confident in who you are. Once you start, telling yourself you're gonna do something and you don't do it, now you're instead of stacking wins every day, now you're just stacking L's in a sense. So you're stacking L's and you have regret, right? And now you don't look at yourself the same.
Yeah.
So how can you go and inspire someone and tell somebody and motivate somebody when you don't even keep your promises to yourself?
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah. There's no way. And that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, you got to make sure that all this shit, like going to the gym at 5 a.m., it's got to just become a part of who you are. Like, people ask me, like, wow, why do you do that shit? Like, why don't you just go at 6 or 7? It's like, dude, like, it's all I've known for like the last 12 years, right? And it's not, at first I didn't do it because I necessarily wanted to get up at that time. It's just the only time that I really could at a certain point because I had to be at work by like, 5, 6 a.m. So at one point I would go, 2, 3 in the morning to the gym because that was just a part of who I was already. So you got to make sure that that the person that it's going to require to get to that destination is going to be a totally different person. And is it going to be hard for the first couple of years? It's going to be hard, but then eventually it just becomes a part of who you are and it becomes a part of your daily schedule.
What's
right? Like now I don't got to put on my calendar and I don't got a time block going to the gym, right?
Or
reading.
It's natural.
It's there. It's just a part of who I am now. And so at first, that's why like when agents come on our team, it's developing that time blocking schedule to the point where it's like, look, this is what you're doing. This is what you're going to do now. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you won't need it anymore because it becomes ingrained into the type of person that you are.
What's your little trick in the morning when your alarm rings? Because I know nobody wants to get up.
Yeah,
like there's not one person that their alarm rings at 5 and says, "Oh my God, let's go."
Okay, if there's any kind of trick, it's don't fucking put the phone on your nightstand. My phone is in the bathroom, right? So I have to get up or else that shit won't let me sleep. So I have to get up. Now, sometimes do I snooze that shit? Hell yeah, I'm human, dude. Sometimes I go to sleep later than I want to. Sometimes I have a heavy dinner and I have to get up and snooze it. But ultimately, that if there's a hack to that, it's making sure that your phone is not right next to you, right? And I think there's some psychological shit behind this, but I think it's even bad for you, like as far as like the waves and shit that this shit like lets off, right?
Under your pillow and shit.
Oh yeah, dude. That's probably fucking like cancer waiting to happen right there.
You know what I started doing? I don't get up
your phone.
I get up at 4:45. But
he's just trying to one up you, bro.
No.
Yeah.
He said,
well, I'm gonna get up at 4:40.
He said 4:30. He said 4:30. No, but I'm the kind of guy that I need some time to wake up.
Yeah.
Like I can't just get up like, all right, let's go hit some weights.
Yeah.
Like I usually will get up at 4:45, and then I take my time getting dressed. Like I take my clothes to the living room, and I watch TV for a little bit to just like wake up because I can't even read.
What do you watch?
I tried reading sports.
Tom
stuff,
and Jerry?
sports stuff. I've tried reading. Like I'll be with a book. Like so I can't do it right now. So. What I do is I get up. What I started doing is I leave my phone. I don't put it in the restroom because my son still sleeps in our room. Mm-hmm. And so if it's ringing too long, it wakes him up. Then we're all screwed. Yeah. I can't go to the gym and whatever. So I just put it on the floor next to my bed. And what I started doing is I usually will wake up with like my face up. Uh-huh. And so I just throw my legs over and just like fall off the bed. Like I just make myself get off the bed no matter what. Like once it rings, because if I just reach over and grab it, I'll snooze it and then I'm screwed. I'm snoozing it. Once you snooze it once, you're snoozing like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, for sure. So check it out, dude. So if there's a piece of advice that I can give you in terms of just getting up early in the morning, you got to know that morning routine starts with your nighttime routine. So when most people ask me, "Fuck, dude, you wake up at 4:30?" Like, what do most people think? This fucker only sleeps 4.5 hours a night. Bro, it's literally I sleep just as much as anybody else. But the thing is that most people go to sleep so you have that the time frame that you're asleep. So let's just say that this is a representation of 6.5 hours. All you do is literally slide that fucking time frame back. That's all you do. But with that comes the discipline to make sure that you're asleep by for me it's 10 p.m. So I get just as much sleep as anybody else. But what most people don't understand or can't grasp is the fact that you have to learn how to go to sleep earlier. And I know, trust me, bro, we've had this conversation before. My kid won't go to sleep till like 11, 12, 1 in the morning. I get it, bro. But eventually, like for me and my wife, it was just getting our kids into that habit of, hey, you guys are going to be in bed by 8:30. Now, are they asleep every day by 8:30? Hell no, bro. Most of the times we struggle with my daughter. Like sometimes it takes us an hour and a half to actually, because she'll get up, come to the room, we take her back. Sometimes we get up 10 times, bro. But it's at least kind of instilling in them like, hey, this is the time in this household. This is the time that we go to sleep.
All the lights are off. Everything.
Right. Okay. So that's one thing. You kind of take a few steps back from that. Is I've found personally that anytime that I eat what you would call a quote unquote bad dinner or a heavy dinner, it's like 3 times as hard for me to get up in the morning, bro. So I like to make sure that I don't, for one, overeat, and that if it is something that's not too healthy, for one, I don't eat too much of it, but I try to keep it on the lighter end. Because anytime that I eat something light for dinner, I'm gonna sleep by 10 p.m., bro, I get up like nothing. But you got to know that morning routine starts with the nighttime routine.
Yeah, one of the biggest things too is like I said, I say this a lot, is you promise yourself you're gonna start doing shit like this, right? And so getting up at 5 for the gym voluntarily, because for us it's voluntarily, right? Like we can go to the office whatever time we want, right? Well, are you gonna get shit done? No, right? But you promise yourself you're gonna get there at a certain time. And then I think we talked about this before, where for me the gym at 5 a.m. isn't because I can't go at any other time, or because I need to get the workout in, because I need to get buff and I need to lose weight. I mean, I want to get buff. I want to lose weight. I want to look good. But for the most part, my day goes so much better, like business wise, way more productive. I mean, like in every aspect of life, my day goes by so much better when I go to the gym early in the morning, because I get back, my wife's awake and she's like, hey, do I have time to go to the gym real quick? Yeah, go for it. And then by the time I shower, get ready for work, then she's back and I take off to work. If that doesn't happen, then I get home from work at 5 or 6 p.m. and then now she has to go hit the gym. So now it's time that we don't spend together. She gets back. I already ate, because if not, I eat too late. And then Nathan needs to take now we shower Nathan and then we get to bed. So when did I really spend time with my wife? Do you get me?
Yeah.
So simply going to bed going to the gym early like that, it just in every aspect makes my day better.
Yeah.
So let's move on, dude. Did you want to say something?
No. I actually wanted to transition.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say real quick on that, real quick, dude. So, and this it has really not much to do. Yeah, real quick. So, the one of the biggest things and one of the biggest takeaways that people need to take away from this is that, okay, great, you're getting up to go to the gym in the morning. You're gonna look better physically, but what people don't understand is the mental impact that it has on you. Because if you can develop the discipline to get up and go to the gym at that time, you can directly begin to strengthen that mental discipline and apply that to other areas of your life.
Of course.
Like I see, Adrian?
Bar. That's a bar.
Of
right there,
course.
All right, I want to transition, bro, into back into mentorship really quick, right? Because obviously it's one of the most important decisions I feel like you can make. Because not only will it dictate the direction your life can go in, right? But you're also picking up, everything from this mentor, and now you like yourself are a mentor, right? You have a team of 6. I guess like what are the biggest challenges right now that you're facing as a mentor, and like where are you actually getting your leadership skills from?
Let me take that one step further, because it ties in. I was gonna ask this later, but I think you have to ask this first. What was the biggest challenge transitioning from a solo agent to having one agent with you, which was Jose for a while,
right,
and then now having 6? And you mentioned you have goals of tripling that.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges was like structure. Because if I told myself, if I don't have structure within my own real estate business, how can I preach and inspire somebody else to have structure in theirs? So first and foremost is having the structure and having the systems. And a lot of people don't understand what that means, but you got to understand that, especially as a salesperson, really you should only have a couple of jobs, right? And those jobs require you to be the rainmaker, right? To bring in more transactions, help more families, so on and so forth. But having the structure and having the discipline, because I couldn't sit there and preach some shit to somebody else that I wasn't doing myself. So for me, that's been being our team lead has been the number one biggest form of accountability for myself. Because again, I can't, and you see it all the time. People that preach all this shit that sounds good, but behind closed doors are doing the opposite thing. So for me, it was like I can't at the end of the day look myself in the mirror and be like, you know what? Yeah, I do what I preach, right? I don't ever want to have to look at myself and be like, it's just all bullshit, everything that I'm preaching to everybody. So at the end of the day, you got to make sure that whatever you're coaching, mentoring, teaching people on, or training people on, you got to make sure that you're doing the exact same thing, and you got to make sure that they know. that they know.
I was gonna wait
that-
for you to finish the sentence.
They got to make sure that you know that you're in the trenches with them. And so we had our team meeting yesterday, and I was like, look, and one of our agents was like, based off what you're saying, like, it kind of sounds like we're being too soft right now in our approach, right, to hitting our goals. And I'm like, thank you, bro. Like, I didn't want to say it myself. I didn't want to offend anybody, but we're just being way too fucking soft. I was like, and everything that I tell you guys to do is nothing that I've never done myself before. You see what I'm saying? And it's nothing that I'm not willing to do right now.
You got to lead from the front.
Yeah. So it's like I'm teaching people how to produce at a certain level, but sometimes in a sense, at one point, I kind of felt bad, like expecting the same thing from them. So I kind of had a reality check myself, and I'm like, why the fuck would I expect them to produce at an X amount of level when I'm not willing to hold them accountable to doing the things that I was doing that got me to that level? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Joe tells us all the time. He's like, you guys need to do this, you need to do that. He coaches us on how we should, be on the field. And then he's like, dude, if I was in the fucking, if I was still in LO, I'd run circles around you motherfuckers. He's like, you guys are just lucky I'm not out there, because everything that I'm telling you guys to do, I did that shit plus some.
Yeah. And see, that's the beauty of really being able to dictate your inner circle. Or for example, in my team or in my situation, it's my team, that I can create an avatar, right? An avatar of the type of person that specifically that I want on my team, right? And I don't want people that are going to get offended because I'm telling them that at one point I was hosting 12 open houses and they got to do the same thing. If anything, I'm the opposite, dude. If you're reaching a certain level of success and you're telling me, dude, this is how I got here, A, B, and C, I'm going to fucking do those things because I know that those results or that those actions are going to produce a certain amount of results. You see what I'm saying? But sometimes, like, I kind of talk myself into not requiring certain things out of my team because I don't want to, like, offend anybody or feel like my expectations are extremely high. So I kind of had to check myself and be like, you know what? My expectations are fucking high, right? Because at the end of the day, we're doing this for our families, right? This is how we put food on our table. So at the end of the day, it's like, I can't let you, right? Let's just say, take you, Edgar. Like, if you're on my team, I have a responsibility to you and your family to make sure that I'm teaching you the things that I did that helped me get to where I am today. So if I can't hold you accountable to that, like, what does that say of me as a leader?
Of course. Now on that, let me play devil's advocate with you here. So in regards to, like, what I did, I made it work. So I'm gonna preach to you guys so you guys can do it and excel in it too. Now, in the last 6 years, I think we've had exponential growth in social media and things have adapted tremendously, right? And so, let's take it one step to, like, cold calling or door knocking, right? I still think it works, works miracles. But how if you can adapt as a team lead, right? So let's say that you've been in the business and you're like, well, I would door knock and I would do this. I'm not gonna pay for social media sponsorships or stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how important it is for you to how important is it for you to adapt and learn what the new stuff, even if you have, like, for example, because current agents, let's say someone like Adrian is going to come into the game and say, well, I need to grow my social media because that's where it's at right now. That's what a newspaper was back then. If you put yourself in the phone book 10, 15 years ago, social media is the phone book now.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, so,
it's also your resume.
100%. Yeah, exactly. So for somebody who's been in the game, and I wasn't asking this for you as if it applied to you 100%,
Right.
but it does. It applies to all of us, right? So for somebody who's been in the game for 20, 25, 30 years, and they're like, no, that doesn't work. You got to do it this way because this is the way I did it, and that's what works. So you got to do the way that I did it because look where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, you're right. I'm nowhere near where you're at. But do you think that still works? And if it doesn't, like, what stance do you have on that? Like, I don't know. My question kind of went everywhere. But
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So, or what your
like,
question is.
You
so,
can tell your team to do something because it
Yeah.
works for you. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for the next generation.
100%.
Because we're already in the next generation.
No, I think it's extremely imperative that we evolve with times, right? So, and again, this goes back to the same thing. There's a million ways to make money in this world, right? But you got to make sure that you choose one and that you become an expert at that one. So, me as a newer agent, and I know that I speak for newer agents, newer loan officers, newer whatever, right? Anybody, solar sales reps. There's a million ways to make money. The thing is that what happens with people is that most people have what we call the shiny penny syndrome, right? That they see the next thing, the next thing that's attractive, and then they go do that, and then they do the next thing, and then the next thing. But the thing is that they go so wide that they never go deep on a certain something and they never master that particular thing, right? So for me, one of the things that worked for me quite a bit actually was like open houses, right? So why would I spread myself out trying to figure out 15 different lead generation strategies when I know that open houses is one of the key ones, right? And I know that if I can get better at that, my conversion ratio with open houses is going to dramatically increase. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, I believe that there's a way that you can still stick with your philosophies, but evolve them with times, right? So if you're there's no denying that social media, videos, all this other shit is important. If you're not shooting videos in today's day and age, you're not going to last around very long, right? Or you're not going to make enough money to be able to feed your family or accomplish your financial goals or reach your financial aspirations. So like for me with videos, right? I don't even want to go back and look at the very first couple of videos that I did because I know that I'm going to be like, damn, I fucking sounded retarded and I look dumb and look at, how much I was stuttering or how many filler words I was using. It's like anything else, brother. Like nobody starts out being, or maybe I should rephrase that. Maybe there's a select amount of people that can actually get on camera for the very first time and we could be like, holy shit, like they're a natural, right? It's like talented, athletes, right? There's some people that just are born with it, but the majority are not. They got to work day in and day out of it. So shooting videos is just one of those other muscles that I talked about earlier that you just have to work out. It's like you look at these public speakers, like, I don't know, Andy Frisella, we'll take him as an example. Like, I'm sure that dude did not just get up on stage one day and just crush it and blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
It's something that you got to constantly be working on and practicing. But you got to get out of your own way too, because it took me from the day that I realized that I had to start shooting video content to the day that I actually did it. Honestly, it probably took me like 3 years, brother. And did it take a long time? It took a long time, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that will never figure that out. But you got to get out of your own way. You got to be able to jump over those mental hurdles to be able to say, like, you know what? I don't give a shit what people have to say. People are gonna criticize you anyway, right? You might as well give them something to criticize you about. And in the process, you're getting better. You're getting better with your communication skills. You're getting better with your body language. You're getting better with your own self-confidence to be able to get in front of people. And and social media, for this example, get in front of hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, and be able to express yourself, because there's a lot of people out there that are extremely intelligent and that have a wealth of knowledge to share with people, but they don't do it because they're afraid of the criticism, dude. So imagine, right? They say that the world's best ideas are where? At the graveyard, in the cemetery, right? Because most people are afraid to voice their opinions. So we got to make sure that we get out of our own way and be like, you know what, dude? I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about it.
Let me ask you something. So how much of your family, how much percent of family actually uses you? I think in general in business.
What kind of uses me? Uses me and abuses me?
Just one, right?
Yeah, exactly. She's at home right now. But what was your question, bro? Uses me like for what? As a real estate advisor? What do you mean?
Solicits your business.
Okay, that's a great question, bro, because I have a gentleman on our team that he's new in the business, right? About a year. And he's had multiple family members that don't use him as a realtor, and he gets extremely bummed out. And I'm like, look, bro, this is part of it. If we sat here and talked about all the people that have not used me as a real estate advisor, we'd have like a 2-3 hour conversation at least. And does it sting the first couple of times? Absolutely, bro. But you just got to know that it's gonna happen, and there's gonna be a first, and who knows when the last time is gonna be, but it's gonna happen over and over and over again. That's why you got to continue to lead generate. As they say, when you lead generate, you don't have to tolerate.
Yep.
So because I lead generate, I don't care that my primo went and used somebody else. I don't give a shit. Like
what's primo?
My primo, my cousin. I don't give a shit that my cousin went and used another realtor. Why? Because whether or not he used me as his real estate advisor, it wasn't gonna make or break my business. You know what I'm saying?
Hang on here. It's going to be a roller coaster because I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how I'm going to say it. Okay. So where I'm getting at with this is social media growth, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing an excellent job at that.
I appreciate that, bro.
For the last, year?
About a year, yeah.
Okay. So here's one thing that I came to a realization of. In talks with, growing my social media, I focus too much on what are they going to think? Mm-hmm. My followers, my current followers. But my current followers have known for a while now what I do.
Right.
How many of my current followers have used me in any of my businesses?
Probably
3%, if that, maybe less. Okay. And so where I'm going with this is, why am I targeting people that aren't going to use me anyway? Right? If I say something that offends them and that makes them unfollow me, shit, they're doing me a favor.
Yeah.
How many views do your videos get? Hey, Instagram is amazing now. It tells you how many views, how many cents, how many comments. It tells you literally all the
You got to be careful with that, though.
What do you mean?
You got to be careful with that because a lot of the times people directly correlate their level of success or their level of impact based on views and likes.
Okay, no.
You got to post shit with no attachment to the outcome.
Of course. But where I was going with this was you will usually get like 10x, if not 20x, the amount of views than the amount of likes. You know what I'm saying? And so they're watching your shit.
Yeah.
They're watching.
Yeah.
How much does it cost them to press the fucking heart?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
How do you start to begin the process of getting monetized on social media?
Yeah.
Likes, views, shares.
Yeah,
The biggest
engagement.
one being shares.
Yeah.
Okay. So all you have to do is send my damn video to someone, post
Yeah.
it on your story, or like it, and it helps my business.
Yeah.
But how many people do it? Not very many.
Yeah.
And so why am I so goddamn focused on satisfying the people that don't support me anyway? So you gotta focus on being yourself and posting what the hell
100%.
you want to post. And if they
100%.
don't like it, then click the fucking unfollow button.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
So this kind of directly correlates to what you're talking about. I highly suggest that you guys read the book Go for No. Go for No. Okay? It's a great sales book. But the concept of what Go for No is that you got to realize that life works in ratios and percentages. Okay? How many people are in my database right now? Shit, I don't know, bro. Thousands. Of those, realistically, in my database, how many people this year are actually going to do business? How many are actually going to do business or know somebody that's going to buy or sell a home? I think the number's around 10%. So you got to come in with those expectations too, right? Just like for me with growing our team, I know that not everybody that I meet with is going to be a good fit. So in order to add one agent to our team, I got to meet with anywhere between 5 and 10. It's ratios. So when that happens, you remove the emotional attachment from the outcome and you're like, hey, this is just a numbers game. I just got to get more leads. I got to get more leads. And it's the same thing with your own family, right? And there's I'm kind of like there's that's kind of a double-edged sword because you can't have extremely high expectations of your family that they're going to use you for every single transaction. But at the same time, who better to work with than the people that already know you, like you, and trust you? You see what I'm saying? So don't be attached to the outcome. Don't be emotionally attached to who they decide to work with. But at the same time, like you mentioned, one, you got to be yourself, and two, you got to create a almost like an inner circle with the people that already know you, like you, and trust you. Right? You got to constantly remind people of what it is that you do, because somebody might sit here, like people know that you're a loan officer, right? Especially your family, but they're probably like, well, I see, Edgar, he drives nice cars, he dresses nice, he doesn't need me, you know what I'm saying? But what most people don't understand is that is what got us to where we are right now. It's working with the people that we know, like, and trust, and their referrals. You see what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying, but I kind of have like two perspectives on what you said.
You hit it there, but one big thing that I heard from somebody that it kind of got to me, to be honest. But somebody said that they wouldn't work with me, that they wouldn't let me be their
loan officer.
Yeah. Because they see my lifestyle and that they don't want to contribute to it. Can you believe that?
That's
shit?
fucked up, dude. Yeah.
And they were saying like, fuck that. Imagine how much he makes on other people. I don't want him to make that on me. And I was like, how pathetic does that sound? Because for one, it doesn't mean I'm making millions on a certain person.
No.
It just means I have a lot of volume, right? I
Yeah,
might have
volume.
a lot of people.
It's
So
volume.
I might make $100 off every deal. But if I have 1 million deals, then I still make good money, right? So it doesn't mean I'm making a lot. Aside from that, you don't want to contribute to my life. That's feeding my family, dipshit.
Well, see, those are people that you honestly don't really want their business, bro.
Well, the worst part is that it's a family member.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah, bro.
family member.
Yeah. So
Hey.
you hit the nail right on the head, bro. Like, don't take it personal, bro. Don't take it personal. I know what I'm telling you. I've been through this a lot of times. Like I said, don't be emotionally attached to the outcome. People are the way that they are. We're not going to sit here, focus on our energy and time on trying to figure out why my cousin said that. Who gives a shit, bro? You just move on. Hey, bro, you know what? That's great. But based on what you just said, you told me a lot about the type of person that you are.
Yep.
So you know what? Actually, you did me a favor, because imagine if you would have gone through the whole process of getting him pre-qualified, and then at the end of the day, he's out shopping Bank of America or some shit.
No, or
you know what I'm saying?
What I was doing for a long time, and it's 100% true, is I just, it saved me a lot of time and a lot of stress, like unneeded stress and like anger, right? Because they would still reach out to me for questions. they would still reach out to me for, you know, hey, what do you think about this? At least once a week. And I was exhausting my time on them because I figured, man, someday they're gonna, you know, like, I don't, like I said the other day, like, you need to be the guy that knows a little bit about a lot of things, right? So that if a family member comes to you and they
you want to be resourceful,
or a friend,
the connector, right?
You know what? I don't do that, but here's Nelson. He can help you with that. Or I don't do that, but here's this person.
100%, bro.
You know what I mean? And so that's the person that I am to my family. But then I come to hear this dude say that, and I was just,
that's all right.
It kind of hit me with a left hook because it was someone that I really, really did not expect it from. And then so I was like,
were they being serious or were they messing with you?
I hope they were messing around. No, they didn't tell me. They told.
Oh, then they were being serious.
Yeah, that's why. So that's the problem. And the person that told me, I do believe in trust.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, you know what? Like, it hit me with a left hook, but at the end of the day, he did me a favor because now they have called me and I ignored their call. Because I don't, like, I call it, you know, whatever you want to call it, but it's still like, even if you were fucking around or if you meant it, like, you don't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just, maybe I'm being childish. Or
no,
whatever,
man, it's, you know, like we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, bro, life is all about perspective. So the perspective that I choose to look at that situation from is like, you know what, brother, you did me a favor. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to waste my time and energy on you because I know how you really feel. But then it allows me the ability to invest that time that I was going to spend with you, with Adrian, that I know he values what I do and my services. Thank you, bro. Right? So, and that's the thing with family members too. Like, let's talk a little bit about family members expecting discounts on shit, right? That's why you got to make sure that you're genuinely coming from a place of value and contribution. Because when people know that you're a professional and that you're coming from a place of value, they're never going to ask you for discounts, right?
Dude,
I mean, they still might try.
It'll be much harder though, I guarantee.
I'm not gonna say I've never asked for a discount from anybody, but I think in the recent years, I learned this from Danny actually when he was my loan officer. He said this a while back. He told me, when I go buy a car, bro, or whatever, I never ask for a discount, but I try to work with somebody that I know that might someday work with me. He's like, because just like they help me feed my family, I'm helping them feed theirs.
Yeah, it's gonna go both ways.
And so, you obviously, if you're working with somebody that you're cool with, they ain't gonna fuck you over either.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me ask you guys a question here. I'm gonna flip the script because this is something that I struggle with quite a bit,
Hold
bro.
on. No, it's not that one. All right, let's go.
Let me ask you guys a question. Like I said, this is something that I struggle with. These are two different philosophies, I guess you can say. How do you guys feel, or what do you guys believe the difference is between being the type of person that's always asking for discounts or just being a badass negotiator? What is the difference there? Sometimes I fall into the trap of I don't want to be somebody that asks for discounts because what you put out there is what the universe will return to you, right? So it's the law of attraction. So I don't want to be the person that's always asking for discounts, but at the same time, I know that I'm a good negotiator and I'm going to negotiate on everything. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? Or what are some of the characteristics of a cheap person and just a good negotiator?
Personally, I think I always do my research before soliciting anything. So like if I always tell people, dude, if you're gonna shop me for price for whatever, go do your shopping and waste someone else's time, and then come tell me, hey, this is what they got me. Can you at least match it? Don't waste my time and then go shop me. Go shopping with my price. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so that's kind of what I do is I'll go like do my research. Like let's say I'm gonna buy a car. Yeah. I call LA, I call Merced, I call wherever I need to call.
You want to see what the market standard is.
And then Car Gurus and all kinds of places. And then I always shop local with like colleagues that I used to work with. I've done a lot of things. I've done sales in a lot of industries. And so like I kind of know someone in everything. Right. And so like, if I'm gonna buy a car locally, I know people almost in every dealership. And so like if I'm gonna go to Dodge, I go to Dodge and I tell them, hey, what's up, bro? And I never show them what I got. Right? Because if they give me something similar, even if it's a little bit higher, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm comfortable with it. And if they give me something less, then cool, let's do it. But then if they're like $3,000-$4,000 over, and it's like, dude, I can go get this over there, and it's like, here's what they sent me. Just match it, bro. Don't even beat it, or just get as close to it as you can. For sure. That's kind of what I do in the sense of negotiating. I don't want to get there and be like, oh yeah, well, fucking Huntington Beach was giving me this, and you got to beat it. Like, nah, dude, because I know you got to feed your family too.
Yeah, you got to be fair, man.
That's kind of, I guess, what I do. I don't know if that's necessarily negotiating, but I just kind of do my research and get there and let them give me their price. If it's like crazy absurd, then I'll be like, hey, I can go do this somewhere else. Yeah. I'd rather keep my business with you. If you can't, I totally understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm. And so I think, you got to look at it a certain way too, because you brought up a good point. So I think, okay, if I'm going to use Adrian as whatever, right? Let's just say that he works at a car dealership, right? I might go with Adrian even if he's the same or more expensive, or I'm going to go with Adrian because I know that there's a possibility that Adrian's going to reciprocate the business too.
Of course.
You see what I'm saying? Versus going, like you mentioned, you can go to LA and maybe save yourself a buck or two, but you're never going to get anything in return, and you're never going to be able to build a relationship with that person as well.
In a sense,
So yeah, there's a
you're
fine line
buying
there, right?
You're buying relationships, right? In a sense, like that's just the way of using it. Like, okay, I'm gonna use you even if you are more expensive. Now, like I said, it can't be significant
For sure.
You
yeah.
can't be.
You can't be ripping.
Yeah, you
people
can't
off.
be ripping me off. But if it's in the
It's fair.
ballpark,
Yeah, whatever's fair.
$1,000 more, $2,000. Even sometimes if it's a big item, $2,000, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it makes sense,
Yeah.
then dude, I ain't even gonna tell you that I looked anywhere else. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel for people too that are like or now that I'm in the business as well, like with sales, I feel like it's really key, right? It's more important to establish those relationships rather than, save a couple $100. Like I would rather save that, like you said, make that connection with you, and just kind of always like nurture that and just have you too on my pocket for whatever it is. But obviously it's like unless you're naive and like you don't really care to overpay for stuff, I feel like the smartest thing to do is just always, like you said, understand the market, see where it's at, and use your negotiation skills.
And then also at the end of the day, like if you do your research, and like I said, let's go back to cars because that's I guess something that we can really relate to.
Right.
You go to do your research and you go buy this car and you're $1,500 over what I could have bought it at Huntington Beach, but I'm like, you know what, it's my boy, whatever, and then again like he might use me in the future. If I didn't try to negotiate with you, if I didn't lowball you, if I didn't ask you for a discount whatsoever, when you come solicit my business, I'm going to be expecting the same, and you're going to naturally do it just on your own because, I mean, there's some people that just really don't give a shit, right?
For sure.
But I think most people will be like, well, how am I going to come and tell him, hey, dude, can you give me a discount when he didn't even lowball me at all, right?
Yeah.
And now everything's mutual. Hey, you hook me up, I'll hook you up. Don't worry about it, That's kind of why I like doing business with people that do business with me because if I go, like I said, I Dodge, Mercedes, BMW, all these places, like I happen to know a person that works there because we all work together at one point. Yeah. When I go to them, I at the very least know I'm not going to get fucked over.
Yeah.
They might give me a little bit higher price than anywhere else because Bakersfield's pretty expensive when it comes to vehicles. But, it's like, dude, it's okay. Like I expect, I hope you can use me someday.
And I think it goes back to, again, doing people that know you, like you, and trust you because it makes the experience just that much more enjoyable. And throughout, I mean, I'll use a real estate transaction as an example. One of the things that I love the most about a real estate transaction is that it's not just hey, this is, you got your offer accepted, here are the keys the same day. I actually enjoy the process and the fact that it's a 30, 45 day period because it allows me to see a totally different side of this family, and it allows me to really be able to nurture that relationship during the period of, say, a month and a half, right? And that I know for a fact has paid dividends, at least in my business, because I know how to treat people. You know what I'm saying? I treat people just how I would want to be treated. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Giving them the experience that would be enjoyable to the fact that they're going to go, rave about you and your company to somebody else. And then therefore that's where the referrals start to pour in.
I just thought about something
that's a good point.
That was big to me when we were with Andy on Friday. And you kind of said it right now, but you said you want to be treated how you treat people how you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. But that day, and I've said this for a while, I think we can go into some of my previous podcasts, and I think I've said this before, but I always treat people how I want people to treat my parents. Because my parents have bought stuff without us present.
That's
right?
a great point, yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, my dad's, I guess you can say naive, right? He doesn't.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So like, when they got solar back in the day, I haven't even looked at their contract because I'm like afraid that they got fucked over. So I'm like, well, it is what it is at this point, right?
Yeah.
But like, I would hope that the person was like, this low income family from Marvin, they need the help and let me not fuck them over.
Just be fair, bro.
I've had many situations, dude, where like people, no, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, let's do it. And it's like this, older couple that, they're like, oh, when I helped them with the loan, they were barely able to afford stuff. And I'm like, I can't do that to them. And essentially I can raise the price and make a lot more money on them, but that's not what life's about.
That's not the right thing to do,
yeah,
bro.
That's not what life's about. So he said that day, and it even gave me the chills because I'm like, damn, I've said that for a long time.
Yeah,
like
that's a great point.
That I treat people how I want people to treat my parents.
Especially, coming from immigrant parents, right?
Yeah.
Because like I said, our parents don't know what they don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But we're fortunate enough to live in the best country in the world that has allowed so many opportunities for us. And like I said, we're really only a couple taps away from getting any answers that we're
Dude,
searching for.
even when we were in high school, like you couldn't Google shit and it gave you like a quick ass answer on top. You
Yeah.
had to go to Wikipedia. You had to go to all kinds of places and like find that
100%.
the right answer.
Yeah,
Now
you had to open the thesaurus.
now you can say, "Hey Siri, what's 82 times 164?" 13,448. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we couldn't do that back in the day, and that's just like a quick little example. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like so, it's a lot easier for us to do quick research on something that we're about to solicit
Yeah.
versus our parents. They're easier to take advantage of. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Even nowadays. So I finally came to a point where my dad doesn't do anything without not our permission. It's not permission of anything, but just consulting.
Well, yeah, without your opinion.
Yeah, like, hey, what do you think about this? And ultimately, if I say, like, I don't think it's a good idea, but he wants to do it, he's gonna do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
But at least he heard us out.
For sure.
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
You
don't know.
froze?
Yeah. You
Okay.
drew a blank, bro. I was
Okay.
gonna say something good too. I was
You-
gonna have you drop a bomb.
You shoot blanks? What'd you say?
Apparently not, bro.
Apparently not. Congrats on that, by the way. Let's
Appreciate
say
it,
that
bro.
publicly on air. So,
While you guys are thinking about what to
Oh,
say.
this is what I was gonna say. My bad, bro. Hold that thought.
there you
okay?
go. Cutting me off.
So here's what I was gonna say. Most people are always looking at the short term, right? People never look at the long term, whether it's vision, whether it's long term business plan. So it goes back in hand to with what you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes you may be able to take advantage of somebody and make a few extra bucks right now off of that one person. But what you don't understand is that if you didn't do the right thing and you didn't make those people feel like good or feel like, you know, they're taken care of, the reality is that you're not going to get any referrals from them. So I would much rather get 10 referrals from, say, Adrian than him be like, you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of have a weird feeling about, you know, this purchase that I made through
Especially
Adrian.
'cause everything comes to
I'm,
light.
I might not refer him to anybody else. So you got to think of long term, brother. You got to think long term, and you got to remember that your reputation and your integrity is not only imperative in business, but just life in general. If you don't take care of those two things, bro, I feel sorry for you. You have really, there's gonna come a point in life where you're gonna be met with a huge roadblock,
Yeah.
and at that point, unfortunately, it's, you know, far too late.
and everything comes to light, like I was saying right now. Like you make that sale, you do, because I mean, let's be real. In real estate, it's a lot harder to screw someone over.
It is,
because
yeah.
there's all these laws and stuff, and there's percentages to everything. So it's not like I can be like,
Yeah, but
hey, I'm gonna make $25,000 on you, dude, but you're buying
no.
a $15,000 house. It's
there's no
impossible,
way.
right?
Yeah, but in general, I feel like they do remember the experience, right? So that's just a really great point. I think people really think if you think short term, that long term goal that you have is never going to come a reality because you're thinking about
bro.
you know that one deal can cut
100%.
you. Yeah.
Let me share something with you guys that somebody told me the other day, and it was like one of those things where I was just like just a light bulb went off in my head, right? So somebody told me this. Check it out. Somebody told me there's a difference between like a customer service and hospitality. Okay, customer service, for example, we use the example of a restaurant. Customer service is like, for example, knowing where to put the spoon, the plate, and the fork, right? Hospitality is how you make somebody feel. People don't go back to a restaurant because, you know, everything looked nice on the table. They go back because of how the staff made them feel, right? So whenever you make somebody feel like, hey, you're just one of me, you're important to me, what you're about to do, this transaction is extremely important to me, that's what really gets people, right? That's where you kind of really get in their feels, and that's where you kind of really strike something in their emotion where they're like, you know what, fuck, Edgar made me feel good, man. And I'm telling you, because I've been to restaurants where, don't get me wrong, great, you know, client experience or customer service, but there was just no hospitality, bro. Versus the restaurants that I've been to where somebody makes me feel like damn, dude, I feel like I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
Those are really the experiences that people crave and that they're searching for. Does that make sense?
And when the hospitality is good, even if the food shit, you're like,
You're like, you know what? I
going
might
there.
fucking consider going back because that dude was fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know, he treated me like if we were family almost.
Yeah, we can try something else on the menu, right? But the hospitality, it's
Yeah, bro.
One of the things you mentioned right now was short and long term goals, right? And so you recently, you've had your broker's license for what, 2 years now?
Yeah, coming on 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay, but you just recently started exploring your own brokerage in a sense, right?
Yeah, so as of recently, we're our team kind of separated from where we used to be, and we're as of right now we're operating as an independent brokerage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's the goals with that, man? Like short and long term goals. You said you're trying to build your team and expand, make it bigger.
Yeah.
And then do you plan on, maybe not now, but do you plan on someday opening up an office for
Yeah,
Nelson
bro.
Cantu and Associates?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've put a lot of thought into. Again, all of the decisions that I'm making right now, they're not decisions just based off me and decisions based on what's going to benefit me right now. For one, it's decisions that are also going to benefit the people that have put their trust and faith in me to lead them to reaching their financial accomplishments. But at the same time, everything that I'm doing right now is not just decisions that were made impulsively by me. It's, again, having a coach that's leading you throughout a process like this, right? Because, you know, it was kind of unexpected the way that I decided to branch off on my own. So will there ever be a, you know, just Nelson Cantu and Associates office, right? Or just us operating independently, but at a much larger scale? Maybe, bro. Maybe. Right now, there's a lot of things on the table. There's a lot of different options. I think there's a lot of options on the table right now that are more feasible with less liability, right? But to the point where, because one of my most important things, bro, one of the things that's most important to me is the environment and the culture that we've already created, right? I won't go work at another brokerage just because they're asking me to come work there for free. In terms of, like, well, if people don't understand what I'm talking about, you pay the way that a brokerage makes money is through the agents, right? You pay a certain fee to work under that brokerage. So, like I said, I've had offices that are essentially asking me to bring my team over pretty much for free, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for free. I'm looking for an environment that's gonna not only be inspirational, but have the same mission as me in terms of exponential growth. You see, so if that is not something that I've necessarily found, at least here locally, what I'm probably going to do is just create my own, bro. To be honest with you, I'm going to go ahead and maybe we won't run independently. I don't know that that's the smartest and most feasible thing to do right now, but I am leaning towards creating our own environment somewhere where, you know, there's people just like us, like in this room, right? Like-minded, don't necessarily have an inheritance waiting for us, so we know that we got to bust ass, and there's a sense of urgency to busting ass because really, we only have so many years in our lives where we have the energy levels that we have right now, and that we have the inspiration and the motivation and the willpower to do the things that we're doing right now on a day-to-day basis. So for me, it's creating an environment that has that same sense of urgency and that same kind of the same core principles and foundational principles, I guess you can say, so that I know that, hey, everybody that's in there, we're all on the same page, bro. You know, we hear about all the time about, you know, we want to surround ourselves with like-minded people. But what does that mean for Adrian? Really, what does that mean for Edgar? I know what it means for me. So when you hear me say, you know, I want to create a culture that's like-minded, I know exactly what that means for me. You know, and it's not just, you know, that we read books. There's a list, bro. There's a list, right? And it goes back to creating your own avatar in terms of who your ideal client is, who my ideal agent is on our team, and what our ideal environment is. And if you don't fit within that, like, we're not a fit and we don't belong together. And there's a place for everybody.
Now,
right?
do you kind of assist your agents or even somebody who wants to become one of the agents on your team in creating or finding out who their ideal avatar is? Because a lot of people don't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it took me a long time, and I don't even.
Most people don't ever think about this shit.
And I still think even today, if you ask me who exactly would you want, like, who's your mini me? Mm-hmm. Or who are you exactly?
Exactly.
I think it would take me some time to really give you that exact person.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a tough question, bro.
And so would you say that if somebody came to you, let's say young and hungry, right? And that's hard. That's a hard mix to find. A lot of younger generations, I think people older
they
than
want
us,
shit now. They want shit right now.
Instant gratification, right? But young and hungry and comes to you and says, honestly, dude, I have no idea what I want exactly. I see your lifestyle. You're an inspiration to me. You know, can you help me at least figure out if you are or if we are the right fit for each other? Would you assist someone? Have you assisted someone with something like that before?
Yeah, bro, 100%. Yeah, like, and you know, anywhere that I go, bro, to be honest with you, now is it way more time consuming and is it way more work invested into somebody that's 100% brand new? Absolutely, bro. But you know what, man? Somebody did that with me at one point. You know what I'm saying? So really, all I'm doing is paying it forward.
Yep,
I'm paying it forward. But I've built a system that's streamlined to where I'm able to download my skill sets and the things that I've accomplished and all of my trial and error and you know experiences. I'm able to download all those skill sets into somebody else and delegate that over to somebody else, and then they can learn from somebody else, and we all benefit somehow, some way.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard, especially in today's now and age. Like we talked about ratios earlier. I don't know if there's a study on this, and I don't even know if it would be possible to do a study on this, but I'm pretty sure that the number of young, determined, patient, and willing people there is compared to like just, you know, our general population.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it used to be much higher back in the day, because now, again, like, you know, we talk about our phone being a great tool, but
now they sell their toes on OnlyFans and make more money than.
shit, bro. I'm gonna look into that. My feet ain't that bad looking.
Are you sure? You want to see mine? I haven't got a pedicure like in 6 months. So.
Edgar's looks like Shaq's, bro.
Holy shit.
He has
Looking like
ugly ass feet.
Fred Flintstone and shit. But yeah, bro. So it's being able to identify those people. So for me, it's like I kind of view the world kind of with a different set of lenses on, where now I'm looking for certain character. Even if you're not in real estate, like I might plant that. If Adrian wasn't in real estate, but I know he's young, he's hungry, he's committed, he's a team player, he's willing to put in the work for years. Even if he's doing something else, I might plant that seed right now, because who knows? I might, hey, dude, you know what? I think you'd be good at this.
Well,
and then a year later, he might come back and be like, hey, bro, you know what? I really thought about what we talked about a year ago, and I want to look more into it.
Well, perfect example. I think you brought this up multiple times, but what was the reason you did real estate?
Yeah, well, I actually went to go talk to Nelson about it.
No, but I'm saying, like, you said you had been watching Nelson for a while, and that you kind of were like, I like his style. I want to do real estate because, you know, pretty much because of the style of person that you were becoming. So you probably planted that seed a long time ago without even
indirectly,
thinking, right?
Indirectly,
and
yeah.
So that's a perfect example. Now he's not on your team and stuff,
Right.
but what I'm getting at though is that, like, that's a perfect example of planting a seed, and eventually it might
come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a good example. You said that by the end of this year you want to be at 20 agents.
20 agents, yeah, we'll be at 20 agents this year.
Awesome,
so
man.
So like I said,
what are you doing for that? Are you heavily recruiting, or are you just having conversations?
Not
with
heavily,
people?
bro. I'm just having conversations, bro. Whether it's the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it, it's the way that I enjoy doing it. I just enjoy having conversations with people. So when I meet with agents, I'm not necessarily coming in with the intention of recruiting them. I want to see what they're all about. I want to see what their beliefs are. I want to see what their goals are. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what their level of commitment is going to be.
Definitely.
So if you check the majority of the boxes, I might bring it up. I might be like, you know what, bro? You know what, Adrian? I think we'd be a good fit for each other, bro. I think there's a lot of value that I can bring to you, and I think there's value that you can also provide to our environment as well.
Now, a lot of agents do real estate or whatever. A lot of people, I would say, do anything majority of the time for money, right? Because they need to feed their families or whatever. Low amount of people do it because I really love it, unless they're, you know, already retired and stuff. Mm-hmm. Where I'm going with this is, I don't know where I was going with this.
Yeah, I can't help you there, bro. But what I can tell you is that, like, one of the things with our team, bro, like, the majority of teams nowadays, honestly, and you'll see it on social media or wherever it is that you're, you know, keeping tabs on people, but most agents try to recruit, or their recruiting strategy is like, hey, I have leads. That is that on my list of value propositions? Yeah, but honestly, it's probably the last one. The thing that I lead with value the most is that I'm proud of the environment that we've cultivated, and I'm proud that we're a personal development based team. And what I mean by but because most people, when they think about personal development, I mean, what do you think about when I say personal development?
They mostly think of like reading books and making a
let's
schedule.
cut it there. Reading books. Yeah, reading books is one thing, but applying what you're reading is a totally different thing. So when I say personal development, not only am I talking about books, I'm talking about having formal masterminds. I'm talking about working on the way that we talk. All of this stuff is personal development based. Working on the way that we talk, our communication skills, the quality of our vocabulary. All that plays a role into the kind of success that you're going to have, Adrian, as an agent in real estate. So most people just think about the books, but they don't think about everything else. Like, everything matters, dude. Like, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you carry yourself, your communication skills, all that is a form of personal development. And then some. One of the things that I teach the most to my agents is, you mentioned it earlier, becoming a resourceful person. Most people don't realize how valuable becoming a resourceful person and a connector actually is. And that's something that most people like look at me, or maybe the agents on my team, and they're like, well, Nelson's over here, his skill sets are over here. Like, you know, we're kind of just like, you know, we're gonna get to, you know, maybe 50% of his ability to speak in public. It's like, why can't we all get on the same playing field? If not, you guys get better than me at a certain point. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's creating an opportunity to where I'm instilling the confidence in people that, hey, dude, you can do this just as good as me, if not better. Because I don't come from a background of sales like you, Edgar, or anything else. I came from a background of like oil field and that kind of construction environment. So I'm sure you know what kind of conversations go on in those environments. You see what I'm saying? So for me, when I came in, I didn't know how to talk, right? I had all this lingo, and I still do, right? Not to say that I'm he forgot where he came from. It's not about that. It's about improving as an individual. So for me, that's the type of value that we bring. Is not so much like the leads or, here's a CRM. Yeah, all that stuff is there. We provide all that shit. But for me, it's providing something that can't necessarily be bought, like leads, like a CRM, right?
Now, of course, we see the value in personal development and becoming a better person and, all of the stuff that you just talked about. But I remembered what I wanted to bring up right now. And I knew that right after the bat, but I didn't want to cut you off. I'm getting better at that.
Good.
We see the value in it, but many people don't, right? Many people don't really care. Like, what do you mean? I'm not going to fucking change. I'm going to be the same person forever because that's who I am. But in reality, are we really that person? Or is that just the easiest person to portray?
Yeah.
Right? And so where I'm going with this, though, is that many people do most things for money because they need it, they want it, whatever. What would you say the average, especially in this market that we're in right now, what would you say the average annual income for a new agent would be?
In our market?
Right now.
Or just in like nationwide?
Like, let's say, I here locally.
Here locally?
Locally. And I'm saying that because if someone's listening to the podcast and says, well, I want to become an agent, but I don't know what the fuck they make. I mean, realistically, what do you think a first-year agent can make? Not on the low end, not on the high end.
There's really, again, there's no limit to what you can make, right? What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. The more that you work on yourself, the more efficient that you become. So now it doesn't become a matter of you just putting in more work and more hours, right? It becomes a situation where you've streamlined your processes to where you're working less hours and you're making more money, right? But realistically, I don't see why anybody can come in their first year and get pretty close to replacing their old income. You see what I'm saying? I replaced my income in my first full year. So technically second year, first full year, which is 2018.
So in a calendar year, let's say from June to June or whatever, from a scale of 1 to 10, how if you're someone on your team doing everything you say, putting in the hours and some, going a little bit above and beyond what you preach, how difficult from a 1 to 10,
right?
The one being the easiest, would it be to make $100,000
in your first year?
For first 12 months
It's not going to be easy. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be hard. It's going to require a lot of your time, not only in the business, but on the business and on yourself. Because again, we go back to conversion ratios. I am not having the same type of conversations that I was having in year one, right? I am much more efficient at getting people to see the value in whether it's selling their home or buying a home or creating a rental portfolio. I become more of a master of being able to communicate that more efficiently. Now, in my first year, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I was talking about. Fortunately for me, I had people within my sphere, friends and family that trusted me to help them buy or sell a home. But is it going to be hard? Yeah. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I would even come in with the mindset of, hey, this is going to be on a scale of 1 to 10. It's going to be a 10. It's going to be fucking hard. So it's going to require a lot of work from you. Because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I know we hear that all the time, but I can't put it in simpler terms than that. And what you put into it, you're gonna get out of it. Now, my first several years, I was working 60 to 80 hours, 60 to 80 hours, bro. No weekends off. So, and that's, you gotta come into the mindset knowing that you gotta sacrifice a lot.
You just can't come in the nose.
Why?
Because I was trying to make you inspire motherfuckers to come do.
Hey, bro.
No, it is though. No, hold on.
Hey, wasn't the name of this fucking podcast Real Talk before?
No, hold on. Exactly.
I'm being real, bro. I'm not selling some fucking sugar-coated shit.
No, 100%. That's what I was gonna go to. That of course, it's hard, right? And I didn't want you. Of course, I love what you did. I didn't want you to make it seem easy, but it's very doable in my line.
It's actually, dude. As long as you're legitimately putting in the work and you're being intentional. It's not impossible to make $100,000 your first year.
What if my friends are gonna drink on Wednesday though? Can I just go with them?
That's completely up to you, bro. Hey,
no, but you get what I'm saying.
Hey, if your friends are drinking on a Wednesday, they better have the type of lifestyle that you aspire to have.
100%.
And if they don't, then I think that's an easy answer or question for you to answer.
For somebody to make $100,000 in a 9-to-5 job, and we'll leave off on this.
Este vato no va a hablar o qué?
Go ahead.
I want you to say something.
All right, but I have something in my mind that I want to completely switch the conversation to.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
Last thing.
Don't forget, though.
Last thing I'll say on this, then we'll go to you, and then we'll do it. Anyway, somebody that makes $100,000 typically either has been at the same job for decades,
Yeah.
or has a job where it requires a lot of time, a lot of knowledge, and they have a really good job, right? Working 12 hours a day, let's just say, and they make $100,000 working 12 hours a day. If you're working 12 hours a day, you're being told to clock in at 8, you clock out at 8, you do this. It's like a routine, right? You have to do exactly as I say because I'm your boss. You clock in at 8, you clock out at 8, you leave, you come back, you do the same shit the next day. If somebody puts that amount of time into real estate, I'm sure, realistically, we both know that you put in 12 hours a day, you do exactly what you're being told, what you're being taught, and you literally become the person you're being trained to become. $100,000 is the least you'll make, but that's the hard part.
And you gotta be able to rewire your mindset to think, because like before, for me, it was like, oh shit, $100,000, goddamn, like that's the ultimate goal, to make 6 figures, $100,000. But as you start to surround yourself with people where $100,000 is like the bare minimum, then you're like, $100,000, like if all I was gonna make was $100,000 in real estate, I'd be doing something else.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And that's not to sound like cocky or anything like that.
No,
it's not to sound cocky. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
It only sounds cocky to limited minds.
Yeah, so check it out too. So and Andy brought up a great point the other day when he came to visit us. Shout out my guy Andy, by the way. But he mentioned, when especially when you start and throughout your real estate career, you're gonna have 2 factors that are gonna determine ultimately what level of success you're gonna reach. One is gonna be effort, and the other is gonna be strategy. Remember we talked about that? In the beginning, for me personally, because I had no like mentors or coaches or anything like that, for me it was 100% effort, 0 strategy. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I didn't know. And with 100% effort, I was able to make X amount of money, but I hit that ceiling. There's only so much you can make. Now, when you can either join a team or find yourself a mentor or coach that is going to teach you the strategies, there is no ceiling. The income potential is unlimited, right?
Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's all I was trying to get at. That there's no ceiling here, right?
Yeah.
And so if you develop your skills, you sharpen the knife, and you put in the effort every single day, $100,000 is nothing.
Effort does have to be at maxed out.
And you have to put
years.
yourself in rooms with people that are making $500,000, $1 million, maybe not in the same industry, but in
Whatever.
general,
In general, it's all a mindset, man.
They're making $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, even millionaires, right? And now you want to come and brag about your $100,000. They're gonna look at you like, little boy, shut up, right? Yeah. But you go and brag about your $100,000 to people that are still making 30, 40 grand a year, you're going to feel better about yourself, right?
Big deal, yeah.
But that's why you want to level up. You want to compete up every single time.
And it's not to say that making 6 figures or making $100,000 is not, a noble thing to recognize. 100%, dude, especially like we mentioned where we came from. It's something recognizable and it's something to be proud of. But at the same time, if you know that you're leaving a ton of potential on the table, you better get after it and start surrounding yourself with people that are doing much bigger things than you.
Once you make $100,000, take a trip, celebrate it, get back, and act like you didn't make that. Now you got.
Shit, I still haven't taken a trip yet.
Come on, bro. What's up, Adrian? What you got for us?
See, I can speak from my personal own experience, right? Because once I quit my full-time job and I transitioned, the only like time clock now that you have is like your own integrity, right? Like there's actually real like dangerous so like freedom can be dangerous in a sense, right? Because there's no one keeping you on track to stay disciplined besides your own self. What do you say?
With freedom comes responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But sorry, the last thing I did want to ask you though is just like how crucial you think is it to identifying like the type of person you are, right? Because sorry, going back to that, the reason I feel I'm so quiet sometimes is I feel like I'm still a student, right? Or I am a student in this game,
For
so
sure.
I'm just like picking.
Yeah,
up
no,
a
I
lot
get it.
of
I'm
what
just
you
picking
say.
on you, bro. Give you a hard time.
Stop, bro. I don't like it. Yeah, but how crucial is it to identifying the type of person you are, right? Because I hear all the time on different podcasts, right? There's CEOs who sometimes step down because they realize, like, maybe they're not the number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're a better number 3 guy or a number 2. Sometimes they feel better in that position. But when did it take for you to realize that I am a number 1? Like I do feel comfortable in this position, and like how did you erase those like doubts or insecurities you had to allow you to enable you to take that actual challenge?
You know what, bro? I don't think that, at least, and I'm speaking for myself, right? I can't speak for you or you. But for me, I didn't just wake up one day and I was like, you know what? I have the potential to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? for me, it was like a gradual process. Like whether it was God or the universe or life that put me in certain situations, life put me in certain situations that forced me to work on my leadership skills, that forced me to work on my ability to I guess impact other people. So for me, it was like you mentioned, or I mentioned earlier, it wasn't like I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what, I gotta be the number one. How you mentioned, right? Whatever that may mean. For me, it was like I've put myself in situations that have forced me to work on certain skill sets that have forced me to identify what it is that I truly enjoy to do. So you got to identify, what is Adrian really passionate about? What does he like to do? Do you like to lead? Do you like to inspire people? Or do you like to be in the trenches? And there's no right or there's no wrong, because honestly, I'm kind of a combination of both. Like, I feel productive when I'm in the trenches, when I'm out there hosting houses with my team or door knocking. Some people ask me like, hey dude, I see sometimes you post that you're door knocking. Like, why the fuck are you door knocking? It's like, bro, because, well, for one, I enjoy it. I love talking to people. And I'm not going to ask my team to do something that I'm not willing to do myself, right? And of course, it allows me to sharpen up, like you mentioned, on my skill sets, on my negotiation skills, on my value propositions, right?
Of course.
So to answer your question, bro, I think it's, life kind of has a way of bringing things to perspective and making you have realizations to where you're like, you know what? Like, I think one of the things that I'm passionate about is like inspiring people or speaking or leading, but that's something that only you're going to know through experiences. So you got to put yourself in those situations too, to where you're actually like taking initiative on things, right? And so the worst thing that you can do is put yourself in a position where you know that you're not passionate about that. So like, if I was in a position right now where I didn't like to lead, I didn't like to coach, I didn't like to mentor, I would probably be miserable right now. You know what I'm saying? Because even though I have the title, really, what kind of fulfillment would it bring me if I didn't like it? Nothing. Right? Yeah. So everything's work, right? But eventually, you got to make sure that you work on something so much and you have such a strong skill set within that it becomes like second nature to you, right? So like for some people, it's like for me, I didn't like these type of conversations. At one point, I didn't realize how much I liked having these kind of conversations. That's why in that mastermind that day, I'm like, you know what, dude? Like one day I want to figure out how I can get paid a lot of money just to have these types of conversations. Because I fucking like doing this shit. But you're never going to know what you like until you put yourself in that position.
Yeah, get uncomfortable.
Round of applause for Mr. Nelson.
I have one last thing, though, before the cutoff king cuts us off. All right, bro, last question.
¿Y con esta te despides?
Esa me despido. When do you know, or like when can you make that decision for you to know? Because throughout your life, I'm sure you've had various different mentors, right?
For sure.
When would you say that you understood, or I guess what advice would you give to know like when someone should break away from their mentor, right? Like at what point? Is it whenever you learn all you can from them? Is it when you decide like they're taking a different route in their life and you want to go a separate way?
Yeah, I think God will make it very clear to you when that person, when God knows that person is not going to get you to what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. That person served the role, right, in your life, and they helped you to get from maybe point A to point B. But now, who's the next person that's going to get me from point B to point C, or so on and so forth, right? So the people that were my mentors in the past might not know how to get me to the next level. And it's the same thing for me, right? If I have an agent or somebody that I'm mentoring or coaching, I might only be able to get them to a certain level, right? I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I can do to make sure that I'm working on myself on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis to where I'm leveling up here to where I'm never staying stagnant. You see what I'm saying? I'm always going to make sure that I'm focusing on that. But you'll know when, like, hey, like, let's just use me and you as an example. Like, you'll know when to kind of tell yourself, you know what, Nelson, he served his role in my life and I appreciate him for that. But I don't think he would be able to know, or he would know how to get me to get to that next level, right? Because he was able to get me from point A to point B, but now I need to get to that next step. So you got to make sure that you know when the time is to I wouldn't say cut people off, but no, okay, I need to look for a different mentor. Somebody, if that person helped you get to X amount of income, but you want to double that now, well, if that person hasn't been able to reach that level of income, they're not going to know how to teach you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why for me, it's always making sure that I'm leveling up so that the people that I'm teaching and trying to inspire it's real, right? I can teach you how to get there. So, but you'll know, bro. You'll know when somebody has served their purpose in your life and it's time to move on to the next thing, or to the next mentorship. You'll know when it's time to level up. But at the same time, you got to be very conscious of what your goals and aspirations are. Because if you don't know what your goals are and they're not clear to you, then how are you going to know when you've outgrown your own mentor?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And it's not an ego thing or an arrogance thing. Nobody can knock you for having the size of goals that you ultimately are going to develop or that you have right now, right? But it's just making sure that you're working on yourself. If you know that right now your goal is to make X amount of money, but hey, I know that somewhere deep down in there, Adrian has the potential to make 3 times as what my current goal is. Don't lose sight of that, bro. Don't lose sight of that, and don't lose sight of connect or getting in rooms with other people that are doing much bigger things. See what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
100%.
That's beautiful, bro. Love it.
Loved it. Anything else you want to say out there, Nelson?
Hey, bro, tell us a joke, bro.
That's it, bro.
Yeah, give me a-
Well,
give me a
no,
joke.
dude,
Give me a joke.
if I could tell you a good joke, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys. I'd probably be a comedian or some shit.
I have a joke.
A ver.
I don't have a joke.
No.
We're-
No, man, but if I can leave you guys with something, dude, I'll leave you with this. The quality of people that you decide to keep in your inner circle are ultimately going to determine who it is that you're going to become and who it is that you'll be in 10 years from now. So that's why I make it a huge point for me to be developing new relationships all the time.
Constantly.
All the time. And getting out of your own circle. Hey, if there's nobody here in Bakersfield that inspires you, bro, get out of Bakersfield. And I'm not telling you to move.
Yeah, like look for
But
someone
yeah,
else.
go to these conferences, go to these masterminds, invest the money, bro. Because I'm telling you, don't even look at what you're investing. Look at the possibilities by being in the same room with these people and potentially developing a relationship with them. You know that if you're around like-minded people that are willing to reciprocate value, they're gonna bring you 10x what you invested into that friendship or into that relationship or into that mastermind. So make sure that you're always around big thinkers, bro. People that are on a mission. People that are on a mission. Don't ever get comfortable around people that are like, you know what? I'm good, bro. I'm 30 years old. I think I made it. I think I'm good. Like if you're in that kind of room, that's kind of scary. Or if you're in that kind of circle, that's a little scary to me. That's why for me, I feel that I have a duty not only to myself, my family, but my team and the people that look up to me to make sure that I'm always looking for new opportunities.
Level up.
That's it.
100%. Where can people find you on social media, Nelson?
You can find me at I am Nelson Cantu.
And
That's
then
it.
your team page is Nelson Cantu and Associates.
Nelson Cantu and Associates. Yeah, but the majority of the stuff that I post is going to be, I'm much more active on my personal.
What about your OnlyFans?
That one, it will be on the caption somewhere down here.
We'll put it right
It'll
here.
be on your link tree.
Yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe. That's one of my sources of income.
This is good, man. So thank you guys if you're still here watching. Actually, we have a lot of people that actually the day we post, they'll send me messages like that was a
Oh,
good
really?
one. So I appreciate
Cool,
you
man.
guys.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're doing this, bro. It's really cool to be able to sit in on conversations like this, and if people can pick up one small piece of value or one nugget, as they say, you've already won.
Yeah,
you've invested that time wisely.
Me and Adrian and I, we focus big time on getting at least 1% better every time. We're fairly new to this interview game and stuff. I like to talk a lot, so I'm learning how to let the interviewee talk most of the time. But as long as you guys can pick some stuff up, you guys drop today. There's so much knowledge that people can pick up from today. And if you guys like this at all, send it to a friend. Get us some following.
Yeah, share it.
At the end of the day, how much are we getting paid to sit here and kind of, in a sense?
Well, shit, I hope you're at least gonna wine and dine me after this, bro.
Well, there's our third part to that wine and dine.
Oh, is there? What is it?
No, but it's the truth. We at this point we don't get paid to be here. We're none of us are on a salary job where we're on hours right now. I would love to have been able to do this when I was at my salary job, but we don't. So
I'm gonna figure it out one day. I'm telling you, I want to figure out how I can get paid to do this.
Can you teach me?
100%, bro. I love this shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's time of your day. I think we did the math one time, messing around with you, Rico, and all of us, and we said like if we did the backwards math and figured out how much we make per hour, our hour is very valuable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we're here teaching all of our audience something. If you can pick one or two things up, you're pretty much getting free mentors. You know what I mean? Every person that I bring on here has some level of success. And so if you could pick up anything from every person.
One of the biggest things too that maybe some people might have the misconception of is that this is not just for people that are salespeople, entrepreneurs, business owners. You can work within an organization. You can have a career and apply all these principles
100%.
and get you to elevate yourself. And you'll get to the point where you bring so much value to the company that they're going to be forced to give you what you deserve.
You know, I just read that somewhere. Well, there's something called the entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Like you're in a company, but you're so
valuable
that they'll give you raises and part ownerships and stuff like that. So
you make yourself undeniable. That's what it is, bro.
The day you tell them I'm leaving, they're like, no. What's it gonna cost to keep you here?
Exactly.
Because you're so damn valuable. You help elevate people. You know, because being at a job, dude, you can either be a cancer or you can be like the person that's elevating everybody and you have that good energy and people look at you and they're like, damn, this guy's so badass. Like I like working around this guy, you know?
Yeah.
And so you can learn all of that from us. You know, just because we're here and all of us are in some sort, I just found out that I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a suburbanpreneur.
What the hell does that mean?
What they mean by that is that I have
Suburbanpreneur?
Yeah.
It just means they're out like in the community and knocking doors.
Pretty much we're entrepreneurs, but we have no risk in the sense of like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't, if the company don't make money, we don't
that's
lose.
why, dude, like, cause if you look at it like that, like we're all entrepreneurs really, right? Except for whoever owns the company, right?
100%,
Ultimately. So that's why I try not to use the word business owner, entrepreneur. Like if you're just looking for the title, you're doing it for the wrong thing.
Yep.
You're doing it for the wrong reason. You got to do it because you love to help people.
I'm 1099 is what I say.
Whatever, bro. Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about being an entrepreneur or whatever the hell it is. I know that I'm doing what I love to do and that hopefully I can inspire my team at least a little bit every single day and ultimately help them reach their goals.
Can I ask you a very quick question? We'll keep it down to 2 minutes. The answer. What's your ultimate end goal, bro?
I need you to be a little bit more specific on that.
What age do you want to retire and what do you want to be doing?
I don't ever want to retire, to be honest with you.
Financially retire.
Okay, by 40. By 40 years old, I'll have 100 rental units. And so it gives me 10 years.
Can I get in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
The more the merrier, bro. It's teamwork. We can accomplish so much more as a team than I can on my own, right? Because I have my resources, you have your resources. So if we can do that, it's not going to be 100 doors, bro. It's probably going to become 1,000 doors.
Every person that joins your team is another 24 hours in one day.
That's it. And for me, it's about teaching the people on my team, I'm like how to do the same things that I want to do if that's something that they're passionate about, 100%. Right? But I want to be able to financially retire.
Don't hit my table.
Oh, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I want to be able to financially retire by the time I'm 40, right? Doesn't mean I probably never will because I'm the type of person that I just like even when I sit at home, I just feel so unproductive.
You want to work because you
bro.
want to work, not because
because I enjoy it. Because I enjoy it, and I'm the type of person that I'm kind of like just always going or thinking about what's
that's
next.
what retirement is, right? Retirement should be where you. I mean, obviously, the actual definition of retirement.
You can't retire, but you don't necessarily.
What you want to do when you retire is I'm not going to stop working.
Yeah.
I'm still going to come do it because I love it.
Yeah.
I don't have to work. I can. Justo uses this a lot. That when he retires, he's gonna go be the crosswalk guy at his kid's school. At every school his kids go to, he's gonna be the crosswalk guy because he wants to talk to people. Obviously, he's messing around. I think he's messing around. Yeah. But what he means by that is I'm still gonna work but I'm gonna work in whatever I want to do.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, that's the end goal. Well, that's part of the end goal. I mean, we could sit here and have a full on another podcast about what is it. Oh, 100%, bro. Yeah. Anything at least. From where I'm at this point in my life, anything that I'll ever do will always be in real estate, right? Whether it's buying residential and commercial properties, whether it's actually selling, right? Because I want to have my team forever, right? I'm gonna play different roles as I evolve and as time goes on. But I always want to make sure that I have my team. I always want to make sure that I'm inspiring them and showing them how I did what eventually I'll end up accomplishing. But I always want to be in a sense in real estate as far and it'll shift. Right now, I'm primarily in sales. It'll definitely shift more towards an investor type of role for sure.
Maybe we should do some events, bro. I think we in a sense, in this sense, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, have similar goals in the sense of like motivating people. Yeah. You want to inspire people. You want to make sure people level up, right? Because I think inside of all of us is a person that we never had access to, right? And so going to these events, talking, leveling up in every room you're in, going into a bigger room, I think it's inevitable for a small part of you to want to like, damn, like I want to be like this guy somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'll put it into a very good example. Most people listening know that I do solar and I do lending, right?
Right.
And so when I go to like these events, like we had Monday for solar, I'm like, damn, it's fucking badass. I want to like, it kind of like gives you that boost, like a 5-hour energy of like, oh, I want to. This is badass. This guy's a
run through a
millionaire,
wall and shit,
right?
yeah.
And then the day we were with Andy on Friday, I felt the same way about lending. So I was like, fuck, maybe like solar isn't really my angle. Like it's here. And
yeah,
so,
bro. It's one of those things where we talked about, like you really got to identify what brings you more fulfillment.
Well,
what product, what service are you really passionate about to the point where people can be like damn, this fucker's like, he loves it. Somebody just told me that the other day. Like based on what I was saying, I don't know who it was, but they're like, damn, bro, like you're getting fired up having this conversation about real estate. I'm like, yeah, bro, because this is what I love to do.
My wife always fucks with me, and like when we have family over, like, please don't talk to Edgar about work. And, and then they'll be like, why? Like, because he won't shut up. He fucking loves that shit. But that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, what do most people do? You know, they I keep saying we're gonna end this. We'll fucking go for hours. I don't care.
He's just saying, fucking, let's not talk about work, right?
Yeah, but what do people say? You're at work talking about getting drunk, and then you're getting drunk talking about work. Something like that. It's in Spanish. I've heard it in Spanish, but
that makes sense.
En el trabajo hablando de la peda, en la peda hablando del trabajo.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Yeah. And whenever people are drinking, talking about work, are they always talking, I love my job? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Oh, my fucking supervisor's a fucking bitch. He don't want to give me this. And tell me that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
For me, when I talk about work, I'm like, bro, I fucking love it. Yeah. Like, you know, I if you do this, I do that. And like, I won't shut up because I love what I do, right? And I want to be in love with it for that long. The reason I brought up the convention and Andy was because it's in me, right? Like being a loan officer, a great loan officer, like that day, dude, it did a lot to me. Like I've structured so much things here with Valerie and like stuff like that. Like, you know what, from now on, this is what we're doing.
For sure.
I'm going to start doing this. And you know what, that's what it's about. Like you none of us want to be honest with ourselves, right? He said that too. Like he did say that, right? Like it's hard to be honest with yourself because you unconsciously lie to yourself, right? Like I am being good with nurturing my clients. I am being on time. Really, exactly. Yeah. And when you finally take pen and paper and write down, holy shit, like I'm not good at this area. Yeah. Like I need to improve it. Yourself. And if you can't, if you're like he did say this whenever he's like, from a 1 to 10, if you say you're a 6 or you're a 7, you said this too.
I said it, yeah.
Yeah. Like, are you really a 6 or a 7 or are you a fucking 2?
Are you bullshitting
and you're just bullshitting yourself, right? Yeah. And so like those little areas in my businesses, I started to like focus on, right? Yeah. And it's like once you're honest with yourself and you start to improve them, dude, I think I say this all the time, money and business will overflow on its own. Yeah. You just got to put your head down and keep fucking grinding.
Yeah, and just be a genuine person, man. But ultimately, you know, just based off this conversation, you got to be able to identify whether it's this conversation or a conference that you go to, a webinar, a mastermind. You got to be able to take a couple of things that inspired you and actually put them into action, right? Yep. You got to put them to work. Because, I mean, you don't know how many times I've gone to seminars in the beginning of my career and I would have tons of pages of notes, bro. But at the end of the day, I would come back and I wouldn't do shit about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because the motivation only lasts a small period of time.
We got to go to Town Ferry again.
Yeah, it only lasts a short period of time.
August.
But when you're actually inspired by something, that's totally different. Sure. When you're inspired, that's when you're clear. Your goals start to become crystal clear. Motivation is temporary, but when you're inspired, that's different, bro. You wake up with a purpose every single day, and you know, hey, I got to get up and bust ass today because I want to own 100 rentals by the time I'm 40.
Yeah, purpose beats motivation every time, right?
That's it,
guys. It was great to have you here.
Yeah,
Nelson, thanks for being here.
For joining us.
Took up some of your time, so now Adrian needs to. I just got no. Let me see. Am I tripping?
Thank you, brother. Next time,
hold on.
Next time you come up here,
don't you really interrupt.
The next time we come up here, bro, we're gonna pay you for your time.
Holy shit!
Hold on. I just got a text right now that says, "We have officially recorded."
Well, that ain't on my deal, so what the hell are you bringing that up for?
My guy spotting lunch.
So there you go. Congrats, my boy.
That was great to have you here, bro. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
And seriously, we need once we get the following on here, which he was like, oh, we didn't get enough subscribers the other day, but it's actually growing faster than I thought. Subscribers on YouTube is the hardest shit to get. Yeah. Like you can get followers on Instagram and TikTok and whatever the hell. Yeah. The hardest thing to do is get subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. And that grew faster than I thought. Within 2 weeks, I got 80.
Yeah, we're about 80.
So I'm really happy about that.
One day you're gonna look back and replay this, you're gonna be like, oh, we're at 80, and you know at that point you might be at 80,000.
Yeah, I hope so. And when that does happen, I would love to make an event. That's what I was telling you earlier. And kind of like get people around and just, dude, make it free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get together.
That was my intention with our mastermind, bro. It was just like, hey, we have no agenda. Let's just see what we talk about, bro. I'm sure everybody has something in this room that they can share that's gonna inspire somebody else.
100%.
Yeah. Being value and being genuine is always gonna attract, bro.
100%, bro. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's great to have you here, bro.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Appreciate everybody for watching.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.